Alright, let's be honest, the vanilla fire in Minecraft is kind of underwhelming when it tends to burn. It just disappears out of nowhere. So today, we are gonna go and check the burnt mod, a mod that overhauls completely the fire spread and the block that burns from this fire. It makes it extremely more dynamic, add new items, blocks, and a few structures to the game. Now, how does the fire spread? Well, it's pretty much like vanilla. Every block that can burn will spread to a block touching it. Now, to start a fire yourself, you can use a flint and steel, a flaming bow, the new flint bow, the new blaze and fire barrel, but we'll see about that later, and a lightning bolt. Most of the block that will burn will have 3 stages of burning: smoldering, ember, and burnt. So when a block catch fire, it's gonna be smoldering, then ember, then burnt. Some of them, like for example the stripped smoldering logs, will not have an ember version. You can also turn most of the burnt log into smoldering by just lighting it with a flint and steel. And now let's look at the block that can be burned with this mod. First of all, any planks, any log that is registered as a log or a plank or wood. Bamboo has its unique version of smoldering and burnt bamboo. There are some generic burnt doors and trapdoors, but every other vanilla door and trapdoor will have its own burnt version. Most of the plant will burn, like moss, grass, dirt, leaves, mangrove, vine, cactus, hay bales, carpet, and there's also a compatibility with supplementaries with the signposts. Blocks near a fire will accumulate soot, can only be added on the side of a block but not on top or bottom, and will have this nice gray transparent texture. And it seems like, unlike lichen, it cannot cover 3 sides of a block like this, so make sure to like and subscribe. There's also a soul variant if you use the soul enchantment, that makes the log and the leaves blue, and it is the only way to burn nether logs. Alright, this mansion is fully burned. Let's go inside and see before continuing the showcase. And oh my god, look at that. This is really nice since it's even mixed with a village right now. I am not sure where I am inside the mansion. Like, this is part of the village, and this is part of the mansion. There's still some embers, blocks everywhere, soot on the wall. It looks so destroyed right now. Every wood is fully burnt, even the bookshelves. And it is still continuing inside the forest. Now for the items, there's the flint bow that is pretty easy to craft, and it is basically a flaming bow. It can light blocks and mobs on fire. Then we have the fire extinguisher, which does exactly the opposite. This will extinguish any fire. It can also turn lava into magma, so this item can be extremely useful if you want to traverse giant lava pool in the nether. The fire barrel and the blaze barrel are 2 new explosives that will create a fire explosion. They can be crafted with sulfur, which is a new ore that can be found underground in the overworld or in the nether. The fire barrel only needs 1 sulfur, and it is basically like a TNT. You just light it up and it will blow up in a fiery explosion. Also, this fire will still spread even if the fire tick is at full, so... And the blaze barrel is just a bigger version of the fire barrel. There is now 2 new enchants that you can put on your bow, Blaze and Soul Flame. As mentioned before, the Soul Flame will make soul fire spread on the logs and the trees. Also, an extinguisher will not put out the soul fire, and Blaze will make your arrow explode. That was bigger than I thought it would be, holy crap. Oh my god. Okay, then finally there's the grave. I'm not sure they can be used for something. They have gravity, but they are part of a new structure. Speaking of which, let's look at the new structures. Alright, so we burnt a whole infected structure. Let's go inside, and we can see that everything that is wood is burned. Everything's down, there's block everywhere. The pumpkin somehow survived. I really like how it changed everything inside the structure, but anyway, let's move on. The burnt mod has a bunch of new biome-like structure that can be found throughout your world, and for some reason this one is located 10,000 blocks away. I hope they're not always that rare, but this is a burnt clearing. It can be found in forests, and it is just a burning forest. Although below this forest there are some treasure chests hidden. Holy crap, I haven't checked that before. Oh my god, this is some pyromaniac dream. Now, to find those treasures, you can use the help of the Wisp. These little guys will approach you only if you're holding a soul torch or a soul lantern. They can guide you to the treasure hidden inside these burning land. So all you need to do is to move around with them, and if they detect a treasure, there we go, they will burn bright like that. There is also a Savannah version of the burnt clearing. Unfortunately, this one doesn't seem to have any chest, but while we're in the Savannah, you can find some mob called the Fire Devils, and these guys will leave trails of burnt grass, and fortunately they don't spread the fire, so you don't have to be worried that the whole place will be burnt down after they're passing. Also, burnt grass will slowly turn back into normal grass if there's no fire around. The next one is the Burnt Grave, and this one somehow spawned in a weird way, but in the middle there's a chest with a bunch of fire stuff. But the chest is a trap chest, which means it's gonna light up this fire barrel. There's also the Burnt Plain House, which is basically a villager's house with, again, a bunch of stuff inside. And this one just happened to spawn inside a pillager's encampment. There is also a Savannah version of the house, still with a bunch of loot. Oh my god. And finally, last one we'll check is the Hot Spring, which has some spring water. I am not sure what's going on. It seems that there was ice here, it melted, and now I'm kind of trapped in a ghost block. Gotta be honest, the mod looked better up close than far away like this, even though this is incredible to see this giant tree gets burned down, leaving only the branches. The textures up close are really nice, and you kind of miss that if you look it from far away. Also, holy cow, this is raw gold. And they say money doesn't grow on tree. But this leads us to the new mechanics that the mod offer apart from the fire itself. The mod lets you craft these hot springs, but not only that, volcanoes and geysers. It's not what you think, it's not gonna be a giant mountain like in the back, it's gonna be pretty simple, but it's kind of a neat addition that we're gonna check right now. First of all, you're gonna dig a 3-deep hole. You're gonna place a magma block, a block of sulfur, and a water bucket. And now you have a geyser. Every in-game hour, this thing will spew out some water in the sky. Oh, there we go. We had one. I just almost missed it. Same thing for the volcano. Dig 3D, magma, sulfur, then lava. And this is a volcano. But these one will erupt randomly. Oh, there we go. And this is liquid magma. The liquid magma can be bucketed, and you now have some liquid magma for yourself. It is pretty much like lava, except that it flows faster in the overworld, and it only spreads 2 blocks outward from the source. And finally, you can do the same thing as the geyser, but without the magma block. If you place some block of sulfur with a water block, there's some hot spring water. And this spring water, let's say you have fire res, poison, weakness, and you're about to die. This hot spring will cure you of all potion effect, just like milk. Forgot to mention, when the block burns, there's a small chance that they're affected by gravity like sand, which brings us to the last part, the config file. In this new version, there's a lot of config file. You can change the distance at which fire burns, the speed, the particles, if it lays soot, etc, etc. So you can easily modify the speed or the difficulty of this mod. So of course I had to cover this mod. It's pretty much like a fire infection, which is pretty much on brand with what I do on this channel. It spreads, it destroys things, and it changes the textures, which is exactly what I'm in for.